So here we've got some objects relating to Howard Hooker, who served in the Royal Engineers in connection with the Normandy campaign. This video is part of a series that we're doing for the Heritage Open Days, where we're going a bit behind the scenes and look at some objects that aren't currently on display at the D-Day story but being given to us recently. So Howard Hooker served in the Royal Engineers. He was actually with the headquarters of 21st Army Group, which was General Montgomery's headquarters, and he was involved in the planning for D-Day as a draftsman. And then after that he went and served over in Normandy. So he landed in Normandy about 8 days after D-Day. He was with Royal Engineers Ports and Inland Waterway Unit. And at the front here we've got three items that are, you could say, souvenirs of his time there. So first is a soldier's hussif or housewife. So these were, this is a sewing kit basically. It's got his army number on the inside there. Soldiers had to regularly sew things on, like if, for example, if their uniform got damaged, or indeed if they changed from one unit to another, they'd need to change the badges on that they're on their uniform. So, surprising it might seem, sewing could be quite important. And then this lump of metal is actually a piece of probably a British mortar shell, actually from an ammunition dump inland from Juno Beach, that he says blew up, presumably because it was hit by a German attack. And this is, he says, one of several pieces of shrapnel that landed near him and his mates when they were in the area. So he kept that as a souvenir of that occasion. And then lastly, we've got a German belt buckle, presumably taken off a prisoner of war. Quite a number of British soldiers serving in Normandy brought back items of German, or small items of German uniform as souvenirs, and you can see on the belt buckle it says "Gott mit uns," so God with us. And there's certainly accounts from other British soldiers who were slightly surprised when they saw that, because they said afterwards they thought that God was on their side and not on the Germans. Then finally we've got this painting which Howard Hooker did in his the years after the war. Funnily enough, it has nothing to do with his own personal experiences, but it does really neatly capture quite a significant D-Day story and some of the people involved in that incident, then again 50 years later when he got them to sign the mount. So this shows what's said to be the first shooting down of a German aircraft by an Allied aircraft on D-Day. So the aircraft shown is Spitfire ML 407, and it was flown by Flying Officer Johnny Hulton of 485 Squadron, 485 New Zealand Squadron, which had taken off from RAF Selsey near Chichester, and it's shown here shooting down a Junkers Ju-88 bomber. So this is, as I said to be the first shooting down of a German aircraft by an Allied aircraft on D-Day. And interesting enough, this aircraft is still flying today. So after the war, after the Second World War, it was converted into a two-seater by the Irish Air Corps, and then more recently it was acquired by Nick and Carolyn Grace, who restored it to flying order, and it's now known as the Grace Spitfire, and it's actually based not too far from Portsmouth, in fact, and we regularly see it flying over the Solent. Because people can pay to have flights in it, and obviously being a two-seater, the passenger can sit in the rear cockpit while the pilot flies it from the front cockpit. So the aircraft is actually still flying. And in 1994, Howard Hooker, the artist, the veteran and the artist, got some of the people who'd been involved in this Spitfire's history to sign it. So you can see on the mount here, firstly, there's Johnny Hulton, so he was the pilot flying it in this incident depicted on D-Day. And then Carolyn Grace, she was the pilot in the 1990s of this aircraft. She's since passed away. And then the third name, Jackie Mogridge, she brings in another interesting part of the story, because Jackie Mogridge was a pilot in the Air Transport Auxiliary, the ATA. So they were pilots who flew aircraft from the factories to the airfields where they'd actually be operating. So on the 29th of April 1944, she flew this very aircraft, this very Spitfire, to RAF Selsey, where it would be operated from. And then exactly 50 years later, she signed the print, and she's actually put 50 years on. And she, during the war, she in fact flew 1,500 aircraft of more than 63 different types. The Air Transport Auxiliary, because they were flying aircraft out from the factories to the squadrons that would need them, their personnel had to fly a vast variety of different aircraft. So it's interesting to commemorate her role and the ATA's role as well. So there's a whole lot of different aspects of history in this small number of objects. Do check our website, thedaystory.com, to find out more about visiting our museum and also about the various events that we run.